In the winter of 180 AD, as the cold winds swept through the military encampments along the frozen Danube River, the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius sat alone in his tent. He was the most powerful human being on the surface of the earth. He commanded legions that stretched across continents. His word could raise cities or level empires. Yet, surrounded by politicians, generals, and rival aristocrats, Marcus was constantly surrounded by people who doubted him. They mistook his quiet nature for hesitation. They mistook his philosophical restraint for weakness. They assumed that because he did not scream, strike, or demand constant applause, he could be manipulated, outmaneuvered, or quietly ignored. Imagine the psychological pressure. Every single day, Marcus Aurelius interacted with people who secretly underestimated his resolve. He knew their thoughts. He read their subtle disrespect. He saw the cold condescension hidden behind their polite smiles. If Marcus had been an ordinary man, ruled by a fragile ego, he would have reacted instantly. He would have used his absolute power to crush his critics, to execute his doubters, or to throw massive, loud displays of authority just to prove them wrong. He would have allowed their low opinion of him to dictate his behavior. Instead, Marcus wrote a single, profound sentence in his personal journal. A sentence that remains one of the greatest psychological shields in human history. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Consider what happens inside your mind when someone underestimates you. When a boss dismisses your potential, when a friend makes a subtle, mocking comment about your ambitions, when a partner acts as if you are incapable of achieving greatness, your primitive human ego experiences an immediate flare of panic. You feel an overwhelming urge to speak up. You want to argue. You want to explain your grand plans, outline your strategy, and convince them that they are wrong about you. You want to force them to see your value right now. This reaction, while entirely human, is a catastrophic strategic blunder. When you rush to defend yourself against someone who underestimates you, you hand them total power over your emotional state. You validate their low opinion by showing them that their judgment was strong enough to breach your peace. You waste precious energy trying to fix their perception. Energy that should have been poured into building your reality. To make people truly regret underestimating you, you must throw away the rules of modern emotional noise. You do not fight doubt with arguments. You do not fight condescension with anger. And you certainly do not try to persuade anyone who has already decided to see you as small. Instead, you apply dark Stoic psychology. You step into a state of absolute, cold, unshakable composure. You allow them to hold their false assumptions. You let them believe they have you figured out. And while they sit comfortably in their arrogance, you retreat into the shadows, dismantle your weaknesses, and build a level of character and competence that will eventually render their low opinion utterly laughable. Here are 9 strategic Stoic principles to handle being underestimated, master your internal state, and make your doubters regret ever mistaking your quiet nature for weakness. When someone condescends to you or treats you as inferior, they are looking for a very specific psychological transaction. They are testing your perimeter. They want to see a reaction. They want to see you squirm, overexplain, get defensive, or show visible frustration. Your emotional reaction is their reward. It gives their ego a massive hit of validation, confirming their subconscious belief that they hold power over you. The ancient Stoic Epictetus understood this psychological trap better than anyone. Born a slave, Epictetus spent decades enduring the cold, casual cruelty of masters who viewed him as less than human. He observed that a person who gets angry at an insult becomes an immediate prisoner of the person who insulted them. Epictetus wrote, "Remember that it is not he who reviles you or strikes you who insults you, but your opinion that these things are insulting." When a man irrigates your anger, know that it is your own opinion that has fueled it. When someone underestimates you, your first duty is to deny them their psychological reward. You must starve their ego of emotional feedback. When they drop a subtle insult, when they dismiss your goals, or when they treat you with casual disregard, do not flinch. Do not raise your voice. Do not offer a nervous laugh to break the tension. Look at them with complete, neutral composure. Give them a flat, unbothered stare, offer a brief, polite nod, and let a long, uncomfortable silence hang in the room. When you refuse to offer emotional feedback, the psychological dynamic flips entirely. The person who attempted to make you feel small is suddenly met with a stone wall. They expect an argument, but they get complete neutrality. They expect a reaction, but they receive absolute coldness. Their mind immediately begins to race. They start to wonder why their words had zero effect. They begin to ask themselves if they miscalculated your strength, or if you know something they don't. By withholding your emotional energy, you demonstrate that their opinion lacks the weight required to disturb your mind. You prove that you are governed from within, not manipulated from without. The average person treats doubt as emotional poison. When someone tells them they can't achieve something, they absorb the negativity, fall into self-doubt, and slow down. They allow the disrespect of others to become a self-fulfilling prophecy. A Stoic operates on a completely different psychological wavelength. A Stoic treats disrespect not as poison, but as raw, concentrated fuel. Seneca, one of Rome's most formidable Stoic minds, wrote extensively about the art of turning adversity into character. He noted that an athlete cannot grow strong by training only against weak opponents. To build unshakable power, you need resistance. You need friction. Seneca wrote, "A fire burns out and dies unless it is fed with fuel. But a great fire consumes everything that is thrown upon it, grows hotter, and burns brighter because of it." When someone underestimates your talent, your intellect, or your determination, they have just handed you free energy. Do not waste that energy by wallowing in hurt feelings. Do not waste it by complaining to your friends about how unfair they were. Take that sharp, unpleasant sting of disrespect and funnel it straight into your daily discipline. Use their doubt to wake up an hour earlier. Use their condescension to push through another set at the gym. Use their dismissal to refine your business strategy, study harder, or polish your craft until it is flawless. Let their doubt become the secret engine driving your private work. While they are out socializing, assuming you have given up, you are in the lab, working in total obscurity, converting their skepticism into relentless competence. You do not need to feel bitter toward them. In fact, in a strange, stoic way, you should be grateful for their disrespect. They gave you the exact psychological friction you needed to destroy your own laziness. We live in a culture infected by loud, desperate visibility. People announce their goals before they have even started working on them. They post about their workouts, their business ideas, their spiritual journeys, and their future plans. They crave immediate social validation for work they haven't actually done. This is a disastrous habit for anyone who wants to build real power. When you broadcast your ambitions to the world, especially to people who already underestimate you, you invite immediate sabotage, criticism, and cynicism. You leak your motivational energy into cheap talk instead of concentrated action. The power of Stoic execution lies in what can be called the dark period. The dark period is a strategic stretch of time where you deliberately disappear from the noise. You stop talking about what you are going to do. You stop explaining your goals. You stop trying to convince people that you are changing. You simply fall silent and go to work in the dark. Marcus Aurelius lived by this principle continuously. He advised, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. B1. Consider the psychological impact of silence on those who doubt you. When you stop arguing, stop posting, and stop trying to prove your worth, people initially assume you have quit. They assume their low expectations were correct. They feel comfortable and arrogant. Then, months or years later, you emerge from the dark. But you do not return with promises, you return with undeniable results. You return with a physical transformation, an elevated career, a mastered skill, or a level of financial independence that alters your life forever. The shock of your sudden, silent transformation is exponentially more devastating than 1,000 arguments. They thought you were dormant, but you were quietly building a fortress. Your silence allowed you to work without interference, and your final results serve as a permanent, unanswerable execution of their doubt. Notice how insecure people act when someone challenges their ideas. They talk endlessly. They offer lengthy justifications, cite endless evidence, and practically beg the listener to understand their point of view. They treat the other person's understanding as a necessity for their own peace of mind. Overexplaining is the ultimate signature of a fragile ego. When you overexplain your vision to someone who underestimates you, you are subconsciously declaring, "I need your permission to believe in myself. Please validate my goals so I can feel secure." People who carry deep unspoken authority do not overexplain. Ever, they understand that most people evaluate the world through the narrow lens of their own limitations. If someone lacks vision, discipline, or courage, they will naturally view your ambitions as unrealistic, foolish, or arrogant. Why waste your time trying to explain color to a person who has chosen to close their eyes? Epictetus offered a stark warning regarding the danger of talking too much about your principles. Never call yourself a philosopher, nor talk much among the unlearned about your principles, but do what follows from them. For at a banquet, do not say how one ought to eat, but eat as you ought. The next time someone questions your path, dismisses your plans, or asks condescending questions about what you are trying to achieve, do not offer a grand defense. Do not try to make them see your logic. Give them a short, minimal, impenetrable answer. If they ask, "Do you really think you can pull that off?" do not launch into a pitch. Simply look at them and say, "We'll see." If they offer unsolicited advice on why your goals are too big, nod politely and say, "I appreciate your perspective." Then, change the subject. By refusing to over-explain, you keep your vision sacred. You preserve your mental capital, protect your focus, and leave them staring at a quiet boundary they cannot breach. To truly conquer the pain of being underestimated, you must master the fundamental core of Stoic philosophy, the dichotomy of control. Epictetus divided the entire universe into two clean categories: things that are up to us and things that are not up to us. Up to us are our opinions, our impulses, our desires, and our actions. Not up to us are the actions of others, the health of our bodies, our reputation, and the thoughts inside another person's head. Epictetus taught that all human suffering, anxiety, and emotional weakness stem from a single error: trying to control things that are not up to us, while neglecting the things that are. Read that again. What another human being thinks about you is completely outside your direct control. You can be the most ethical, disciplined, hard-working, and brilliant person on earth, and someone in the room will still misinterpret your motives, envy your progress, or hold a low opinion of your character. If your mental peace depends on their respect, you are an emotional slave. You are giving total strangers the power to dial your mood up or down based on their mood swings, insecurities, and biases. Weaponized indifference is the practice of severing your emotional attachment to external opinions. It is not cold hatred. It is not passive-aggressive bitterness. It is pure, logical detachment. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily of this truth. I have often wondered how it shows that every man loves himself more than all the rest of men, but yet sets less value on his own opinion of himself than on the opinion of others. When you realize that the average person can barely manage their own thoughts, fears, and insecurities, their underestimation of you loses its weight. Why would you be wounded by the judgment of someone who has not even mastered their own life? Treat their opinion as irrelevant noise, like the sound of rain hitting a window. It exists, but it has zero bearing on the work you are doing inside your castle. There is a massive difference between fake confidence and absolute, indisputable competence. Fake confidence is loud. It wears flashy clothes, drives rented cars, and makes bold claims in public spaces. Fake confidence is desperate for attention because it knows that underneath the noise there is no substance. Indisputable competence, on the other hand, is silent. It does not need to advertise itself. It does not argue. It simply exists as a fact of reality. When someone underestimates a person who possesses real competence, the doubter is not hurting the competent person. The doubter is merely exposing their own ignorance. The Stoics were obsessed with personal mastery. They believed that a human being's highest duty was to fulfill their potential through rational action, skill, and unyielding virtue. They did not care about appearing competent. They cared about being competent. Consider how real power functions in the world. A master surgeon does not need to debate a critic in the hallway about his medical knowledge. His work in the operating room speaks for him. A seasoned warrior does not scream in the town square to prove he is dangerous. His posture, calm eyes, and history of victory make it obvious to everyone in the room. If you want people to regret underestimating you, make your competence so undeniable that holding a low opinion of you requires a complete rejection of reality. Focus relentlessly on your craft. Master the technical details that others ignore. Build physical strength that commands silent respect. Develop a work ethic that makes ordinary people uncomfortable. When your results become massive, clear, and permanent, your former doubters will look absurd. They won't need an apology from you. The sheer weight of your reality will force them to quietly absorb their own mistake. When people underestimate you, they build a very specific mental box for you. They construct a quiet narrative in their minds about how you will behave, how you will fail, and how you will react when pushed. They expect you to be predictable. They expect you to act out of insecurity, lose your temper, make sloppy mistakes, or break under pressure. Your greatest tactical weapon in this scenario is radical restraint. Radical restraint is the deliberate decision to act with absolute calm, precision, and dignity precisely when everyone in the room expects you to panic or rage. Imagine a scenario where someone openly disrespects you in a group setting. They make a passive-aggressive comment designed to put you down and make the room laugh at your expense. The entire room falls silent. Everyone turns to look at you, waiting for the drama. They expect you to get defensive, stammer, or launch an emotional attack back. This is the moment where you break their mental box entirely. Instead of flinching, you slow down. You maintain calm eye contact with the person who spoke. You let a cold, 3-second pause linger in the room. Then, with a steady, relaxed tone, you address their point logically, or simply dismiss it with a calm, unbothered observation before returning to your work. Seneca described this level of restraint as the hallmark of a noble mind. Mankind is born for mutual help, anger for mutual destruction. The one desires to assist, the other to harm. To be angry at insults is to show that one is vulnerable. A great mind ignores injuries. When you respond to disrespect with surgical calm, you completely destroy their expectations. You prove instantly that you operate on a higher psychological plane. You demonstrate that while they are drowning in childish emotional games, you are rooted in absolute self-control. Their underestimation of you dissolves, replaced by a quiet, unsettling realization that you are far more formidable than they ever imagined. Section 8. The power of permanent atmospheric distance. There is a common mistake that people make after they achieve success and prove their doubters wrong. They run back to the people who underestimated them, seeking an apology, a confession, or a moment of validation. They want their former critics to say, "You were right, and I was wrong." This is a childish trap. If you seek an apology from the people who doubted you, you are still tethered to their approval. You are still letting their opinion define your victory. A true Stoic does not return to the audience after the battle to ask for applause. A true Stoic moves on to the next horizon. Once a person demonstrates that they cannot see your worth, treat you with respect, or treat your vision with dignity, you do not grant them front row access to your life ever again. You establish permanent atmospheric distance. Atmospheric distance does not mean holding a petty grudge. It does not mean glaring at them across a room or making dramatic announcements about cutting them off. It simply means that you quietly, permanently remove them from your inner circle. You lower their clearance level in your life. You stop sharing your private thoughts with them. You stop asking for their advice. You keep your interactions brief, polite, and cold. Marcus Aurelius wrote frequently about the necessity of choosing your environment wisely. Live with the gods. And he lives with the gods who constantly shows to them that his own soul is satisfied with what is assigned to him, and that it does whatever the daemon wishes, which Zeus hath given to every man for his guardian and guide. When you cut off access to your growth without throwing a drama-filled scene, you leave a permanent psychological vacuum in their life. They watch your life ascend from a distance. They see your character harden, your influence expand, and your peace remain untouched. And they are forced to live with the quiet, permanent regret of knowing that they had a seat at your table, but lost it forever, because they were too foolish to see your value when it mattered. Section 9. Build the unassailable inner citadel. At the core of all Stoic philosophy lies a single, immortal metaphor created by Marcus Aurelius, the inner citadel. Marcus envisioned the human mind as a fortress built on a high, rocky hill. Inside this fortress sits your rational soul, your character, your principles, and your capacity for quiet self-governance. External events, economic storms, physical pain, and the opinions of foolish human beings are like arrows, spears, and battering rams launched against the thick stone walls of the fortress. If your inner citadel is built out of cheap wood and fragile ego, the first arrow of doubt will pierce your walls and set your interior on fire. You will live in a constant state of emergency, constantly repairing your self-esteem every time someone throws disrespect at you. But if you spend your daily life constructing your inner citadel out of unyielding discipline, self-reliance, and rational thought, no external force can break inside. The spears will bounce off the stone. The arrows will fall short into the dirt. The storms will rage outside, while inside, your mind remains perfectly still, calm, and undisturbed. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Remember that the ruling center of your mind becomes invincible when it withdraws into itself and rests content with its own power. Doing nothing which it does not will to do, even if its position is unreasonable, a mind free from passions is a citadel. For man has nothing more secure to which he can fly for refuge and for the future be inexpugnable." When people underestimate you, they are attacking what they assume is a weak, fragile wooden structure. They expect you to collapse under the weight of their doubt. They expect you to surrender your peace to their judgment. When they discover that their criticism cannot even scratch the outer gate of your inner citadel, their arrogance turns into profound psychological defeat. They realize that your self-worth is not tied to their praise, that your vision does not require their permission, and that your peace is entirely independent of their existence. You become unshakable. Not because you fought them, not because you raised your voice, but because you built a mind that sits far above their reach. Section 10. The sovereign silence in the final analysis. Making people regret underestimating you is not about revenge. It is not about spite. It is not about sitting in dark rooms plotting the downfall of your critics. Spite and revenge are heavy, toxic burdens that poison the vessel, holding them long before they harm the target. True Stoic revenge is far cleaner, far more absolute, and infinitely more powerful. True revenge is simply becoming so deeply mastered, so fiercely disciplined, and so quietly competent that the version of you they tried to put down no longer exists. You do not need to send them messages. You do not need to make indirect posts on social media. You do not need to bring up past grudges at dinners or family gatherings. Let your transformation occur in absolute sovereign silence. Let them hold their low opinions of you for as long as they wish. Let them talk, judge, and assume what they will. While they waste their brief time on earth evaluating others, you focus every ounce of your spirit on cultivating wisdom, building strength, and honoring the life you have been given. Walk steady through the noise. Guard your inner citadel against emotional panic. Build your mastery in the dark. And when the dust settles, let the undeniable reality of your life do all the talking. If you are ready to stop arguing with doubters and build your strength in complete, unshakable silence, leave one word in the comments section below: unshakable. Walk steady. Build in silence. And let the work speak for itself.